Speaking of games, let's move over to topic 2. Kind of a little bit of a revisit from last podcast. Rainbow was on if you guys missed it. And briefly we had we talked about Pokemon. And she had brought up Pokemon games and games that, we enjoyed and our thoughts on that. And it's always the thing with conversations like, hindsight, where in the moment you don't think to talk about them, but then right afterwards it's like the flood of information, the floodgates open up and you're like, oh my god, I didn't talk about X, Y, Z, whatever. So I kind of wanted to revisit this topic as we talked mainly about the mainline Pokemon games, the versions, Arceus now, but didn't really talk too much about the side games or the spin-off games that had released for Pokemon, so I want to talk about those. And I talked about them, Stadium 1 and 2, and how much fun those were. I personally never owned either of them until my grown-up years. I didn't have an N64 growing up as a kid, but whenever going over to friends' houses like John's and throwing in Stadium, it was just a blast. Whether we did play the battles and use I don't know if there were Dittos or whatever, but using the stock Pokemon, just picking whoever we wanted, going into battle and playing that way. Or I do remember playing a little bit of the story mode, I feel, at a different friend's house. I think we were house sitting or something, but I remember playing his N64, Mario Tennis, and some other games I obviously didn't have. And I remember playing the story mode there, and yeah, it was just more of what I had known of Pokemon, obviously, from the main title games of the battles and oh my god, this is the gym leader from this or whatever. It was pretty fun. I'd like to eventually give it a full try, or at least as an adult play it and be wow, okay, this was good, this wasn't good. Because I don't remember much from a kid other than, like I said, just the generic battles, and then, as I talked about last podcast, the mini games, because the mini games were great, were fantastic. Whether it was the counting the different Pokemon and seeing the CPUs freak out that they counted wrong, or the Hitmontop and spinning and trying to knock people out of the arena, or there was the Donphan race around the track. Just a lot of good times. They were simple, very simple games, but they're entertaining and fun to play with your friends. I remember another great one I talked about, once again, the counting the Pokemon. Another one that my buddy John, Vincent, and I played a lot of was, I think it was Pokemon Stadium 2, maybe it was 1, my bad, it was a timing game. You were either pincer or you were scissor, or not scissor, excuse me, scyther. And there was a log that would drop from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. And you had to try and cut the log as close as you can to this white line. And I remember us playing that over and over and over again, just competing for who got the high score, who actually cut it on the line. Just a lot of good times, a lot of good laughs shared with those titles. And then Pokemon Snap. I know a lot of people have a warm spot in their heart for Pokemon Snap. This was another one that I had seen bits and pieces of and played maybe the first level. Pokemon Snap is a lot of fun. I was able to stream it, I think it was through the Wii U. Yeah, you remember the Wii U? Played it through that and finally played it all the way through. But seeing the amount of secrets and almost puzzles you had to solve in that game baffles me, how us as kids were able to figure these things out. Who was smart enough to know, okay, if I hit this Magikarp at the right point with an apple, it will hit them into the waterfall and create a Gyarados. Or if I lure this Pikachu along this path, it will Electrobolt this thing, which will trigger a light. Oh my god, it's another Pokemon I could take a photo of. And then there's even crazier ones. Like, it just baffles me that kids were able to figure this stuff out. Because I feel like I'd just be like, duh, I don't know, just there's the running through the same level over and over again. I can't find anything new. And I feel like that's almost like my experience with the new Pokemon Snap as well, which was great. Don't get me wrong. Another one eventually I need to try and go back to finish. But that one I feel like with their grading system, you could do certain things to have the Pokemon interact in unique ways, whether they would dance or they would eat stuff or maybe they would fight another Pokemon. Like, there was a lot of puzzles to figure out in that game, and it was fun to discover. And then with new Pokemon Snap, them adding the variation of, like, obviously your paths that you're taking, you saw a little bit of that in the original, but this one you had a bunch of different paths, and there was different, like, daytime, nighttime, different sequences that you could see. It's just crazy to me, seeing all of that. And, like, I don't know how people find every little thing, because you're, like, almost hectic with the camera looking every which way, especially when you've played that level over and over and over again. You're like, there's something here, it says it in this stupid collecting thing. But that was a fun experience for what it was. I know it didn't tick the box for everybody based on the original, but personally I enjoyed new Pokemon Snap quite a bit, and it looked beautiful. What else was there? Oh, one that I surprisingly, like, really, really loved as a kid, it was on Game Boy Advance, was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And it was like this, was it rescue dungeon? I don't know if they call that. You, essentially the story was you as a human got turned into a Pokemon based on some, like, personality questions. And you were trying to, I think you were trying to turn back into human. But what you did was you found an ally, once again based on personality questions. And you were going around and just rescuing and saving other Pokemon that just happened to be in trouble. So you would go through these dungeons, you would fight different Pokemon, you would find treasure, and eventually you would, like, recruit more and more Pokemon to your team. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the story that they were telling in that game. Obviously enjoyed the collection aspect from, like, oh, there's this Pokemon in my village now, or he's on my team, and it was just rewarding. And eventually, like, they did have sequels. I don't think I ever delved into the sequels, but eventually they did make a remaster on Switch of the original. And I've only played a little bit of it, but as far as I've heard from the general public, didn't perform super well. And, you know, from what I had played the little bit, it might have been, I don't know if I gave it a fair enough chance, or if it was like, I've grown out of this. Wasn't the best to me. I don't think it was like a rose tinted glasses or anything like that. Obviously, I think the experience I had when I was a kid was really, really good. I just don't know if it aged super well for maybe me. But it's another one that I feel like I've, like, scratched the surface with, and maybe if I gave it a little bit more time and dedicated to it, maybe I'd get a little bit more of a rewarding experience out of it, or that nostalgia experience that I originally had felt when they announced the remaster. What else is there for Pokemon games? Obviously, there's a bunch. You have the Pokemon Cafe game with Eevee. You got Pokemon Pinball. You got, there's that other N64, like, puzzle match 'em up game. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I would say, for the most part, those games have been a lot of fun. Obviously, the appearance of Pokemon in, like, Smash Bros. Was always exciting. Playing just, like, Pokeball only matches for the items and just chucking them at each other and hoping you get some good stuff to attack the other player. Just a good time overall. But yeah, I just wanted to put some respect on those games that I forgot about last week. Just kind of give them a bit of a shout out and share my experiences with those games that were fun and definitely earned some respect with the amount of time that I put behind them and played them. I don't know. But guys, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911, usually every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat, join in on the conversation over there if you're a subscriber. Love to have you in on all the fun. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services. The very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. Get all your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us, and we would love you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out today for this video game discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for giving it a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.